Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 134 of the Green Shooters podcast, where today is respectfully dedicated to Off the Cut Podcast Sucks.
Nice.
We're starting out with some truth.
Respectfully dedicated. That's how they start their dumb episodes. They don't do that anymore, though, actually. Now, you know what they tried to do now? They try to copy us.
Oh,
Yeah.
no way.
Yeah, they had like their all long, drawn out intro, and they had like this whole thing that they followed. And then they're like, you know what? Green Suiters podcast is so much better. And they just start talking. So maybe
Yeah.
we should do the same. So,
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, when you're trying to fill space, though, I understand why they do an intro like that.
right. Yeah, when you have nothing else worthwhile to say.
They do like wedge salads, though.
Yes, they do.
Yes. So, guys, let's get the admin stuff out of the way because I think we have some good stuff to talk about. Hold on. We got new members.
Woo!
Okay. I think I got. Did I say never mind. Hold on. Let's get through the admin stuff. So, big thanks to Tyler over at Forged 3D
Oh,
for sponsoring this month's giveaway,
yes.
which he is giving away 2 $100 gift certificates to his website,
Woo.
Forged 3D, forge3d.store. You can also find him on Instagram if you guys want to find out more, but he does a lot of really cool 3D printed products.
Very, very cool.
And he has been nice enough. Not only is he a journeyman patron of ours,
Awesome.
Mhm.
but he is also sponsoring the giveaway, not only this month, but next month. And if you want your
That
chance
is-
to win, you have to be a patron, everybody. This is your first episode. We do giveaways for our patrons and our patrons alone. And speaking of patrons, I actually feel terrible because I still have this ruler here that I have not sent out to Mr. Jason Grissom. However, Jason, just know that I will be sending it out tomorrow.
He's out
Ish.
there building projects and guessing. He's guessing measurements. That's
Yeah.
bad.
You know what's funny? I actually used this today.
Nice.
Yeah, I was sitting at my desk and I was going over the actual. We'll talk about that in the podcast part. But we have some new patrons, and we would like
Awesome.
to welcome our two newest patrons. We have Miss Sedge, you're going to know who this is. Miss Angie Williams,
Oh, welcome aboard, Angie. Awesome.
who I believe is thinking about coming to the meetup, which hopefully
Wicked cool.
she gets a chance because the rooms are almost gone if they're not already. But she became a tool sharpener. We also have
Ooh.
Mr. Dylan Scott,
All
who
right.
is our newest apprentice.
Welcome, Dylan.
Welcome to both.
Yep.
And I
Awesome.
believe last week I did welcome Legier's Wood Shop.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's our admin stuff. That is our admin stuff.
Hey,
Wicked
Patrons, welcome. How's everybody been?
cool. Busy, 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 busy.
yeah.
And not in the shop. Marianne, I spent the weekend outside because it was so freaking gorgeous. And we got so many plants in the ground and in the pots. And I think we should have taken today off because we're totally both whooped. But
Yeah.
I'm getting stuff ready for the build off coming up. And
Oh yeah, yeah.
everything's-
When is that?
It's August. It's May 9th and 10th. But everybody's coming in on the 8th. It's gonna be wicked cool.
Yeah, had to schedule it when I was going to be out of town.
Yeah, that was a lot of work to do that, Jason.
Yeah, a lot of coordinations went into that. A
When
lot
are
of
you
back and forth with Nicole. When are you going to be gone exactly? When is Jason not
Exactly.
going to be here?
Hey, don't call us out like that. We worked hard at this.
No, it should be good. I need to pick your brain too on that. I want to hear who some of the people that are coming are. I know one for sure, but
Yeah. we got some
Actually-
good folks showing up.
Ronnie, are you going to it?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
this is how it starts. This is how you guys boot me out of the podcast. Like, Ronnie, come up come up for the meetup, but in reality, we're going to have an important business meeting to
And then,
discuss the future of
you know,
Green
and
Suiters
then-
podcast.
And then I'm like, hey, your bed was really comfortable while you were gone in Germany. I really enjoyed your house.
Yeah.
Start moving. Like one of those movies where what was that one where the babysitter moved in and just took over the family? Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like yeah.
Oh, what was that? That wasn't Basic Instinct, was
Yeah,
it?
it was
No.
something like that.
Yeah.
It's like scary. It's like a realistic scary movie.
Yeah.
Because she like takes over like the kids, the husband, everybody one at a time, and it's just it's crazy. I don't remember it's she was really big at the time. What was her name? The one that dark hair that was in all the movies for a long time. I don't remember.
Forget.
Something Curtis, wasn't it?
I don't
Jamie
remember.
Lee Curtis? No.
Jamie Lee
No,
Curtis.
no, the other one, Sandra Bullock, isn't it? Sandra Bullock?
Oh,
Is that who it was? I
they were
think.
thinking of a different movie.
No,
Is that the one where they threw the Easter Bunny in the boiling water?
that was it. Yes. No,
Yeah.
that wasn't it.
But
No,
Basic Instinct was the leg crossing with Sharon Stone, though. That was a different one.
it will hit me while we're on the podcast, and I'll try to remember what it is. But it's like
Yeah.
something like A Perfect Stranger or something like that.
That's
Something
it.
like
I think
that. It's something along those
Yeah.
lines. And it's just
Oh, I know. Wayne's World.
that's it.
That's
Yeah,
it.
there we
Yeah.
go.
There we go.
Party time.
Or maybe it was 40-Year-Old Virgin. I can't remember. I mixed those up.
Or your
I'll,
version.
I'll take rides on Jason's slider and post videos about it. I mean, look, it holds all my weight.
You know, you're welcome. You're welcome to stay here during the build off. We'll open it up.
that's
I
where
can
we're
give you a
putting people
temporary
up.
code.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's already full. We've got all the camera people staying there, all of
Oh,
the
yeah.
production crew.
Speaking of camera people, Chris Seibert got married.
Yes, he did. I saw. Pictures were great.
You're live. I saw that.
Yeah, man. He's
Yeah.
doing good. He's there in the Dominican Republic right now.
When does he come back?
Sometime this week. He'll be back to work on Monday, but we're shooting Sedge Tool on Sunday. Hey, I'm getting a phone call right now. It's my ringer isn't on, but it's a weird person. Potential. Have you ever heard the first name Potential? Last name Spam?
Yeah, that's
Potential
that's
spam.
actually
yeah. That guy's an
that's
asshole.
my step grandmother.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
it's going to voicemail. I can't wait.
I get about 10 potential spams a day at
Yeah, it's
minimum.
ridiculous.
Yeah, it is crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah.
You guys know what I did today?
Golfed.
No, but I do want to talk about golf. But not golf with me. Golf with Leo, the next Tiger Woods.
Oh.
No,
So what'd you
I ended up
today?
doing some yard work stuff. But remember that German grill that I made with
Mhm.
Eric Gorgeous?
Yeah.
So I finally dug a hole today and set the post in the ground. So that means we'll be able to use the German grill, the new one that I made this weekend.
Oh,
We'll be
cool.
able to grill up some sausages.
Sausages.
Yeah.
Well, that is cool.
Finally.
I saw those when I was in Germany. I actually saw some.
Yeah. they're
Sausages?
Fantastic.
No, the grill. The sausages too. Yeah. I saw sausages. That's cool.
Bet you did see a lot
Yeah.
of sausage.
Yeah,
I bet you did.
I did. I did.
No, but with Leo. So I took Leo yesterday for the first time ever. He helped me like do yard work and stuff yesterday, and he just wanted to be doing stuff outside. And then Nicole had to go to the store, and I was like, all right, when mommy gets home, we're going to go to Lowe's so we can get some more stuff so we can finish the work that we have to do. And he looked at me and he said, Daddy, can we please go to the golf course? And I was like, oh my gosh. And so I've never taken him to hit actual balls at a driving range. And I took him, and I will tell you that he did so much better than I would have expected. I had a little feeling just based on the first time I saw him swing a club. I was like, holy cow, how does he know how to do that, right? But it was so interesting watching him because he would watch other people that were at the range. I was just standing back and just watching, but he would stop what he was doing and he would watch other people. And then after they got done hitting the ball, he would emulate their swing. So like I watched his swing evolve within 30 minutes. And I just thought it was so fascinating. But he was so excited about it. He had such a good time. He loved it. And then I was at the gym this morning and Nicole took the kids to school and she had said the entire way to school, like we watched the final few holes of the Masters yesterday together. He was asking me all these questions, who won, who that person is, who this person is, where's Tiger Woods, all this stuff. And I'm like, holy cow, man, this is really cool. The entire way to school this morning, he was talking about golf. He was like, one day I'm going to beat daddy at golf and I'm going to be the best golfer in the world and I'm going to win the Masters. And Nicole said, do you know who won the Masters? He says, yes, the guy in the pink shirt. And she said, do you know his name? And he says, Scotty Scheffler. So like he like soaked all of it in.
What a sponge.
Yes,
Yeah.
he took his,
You know what?
I bought him a golf glove, like a glove for his hand yesterday. And he took that to school. And when I picked him up, he was wearing it because he wanted to show all of his friends. And as soon as we got home, the very first thing that he did was he grabbed one of his clubs and he went in the backyard and started hitting these little foam balls.
That's awesome. He's showing an interest in that. Lean into it. Because if a kid has an interest, they can go far, but you can't make them have an interest. That's for sure. But if he's showing interest on that, go after it.
God, I really hope that he does. Because I mean,
like he does.
I will give that boy anything he wants when it comes to the golf stuff. If that's what he wants to do, like he will have the lessons from the best, teaching professionals in the area. I'll get him whatever clubs he wants. I don't care. I will spoil him rotten.
At the very least, it's just good for him to have a basic understanding of the game because I did not play at all. And then I get into the corporate world and I get invited to go all these outings with like memory companies and things. And I was like, I don't know how to play golf. So I had to do it like a crash course, go to places and learn how to hit where I wouldn't be embarrassed. But I remember thinking, I wished I had learned when I was younger, just at least to be able to not be embarrassed, playing. Yeah. It's hard to learn when you're older. I think kids, it's easier for them to pick up, just like it is foreign languages and everything else. So it's good. Get that one of his core things in his back pocket. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. I definitely will be doing it a lot more often. That's for sure. Moving forward, I would absolutely love if he took a serious interest in that.
Yeah, that's good. And it's also not hard on your body. That's a nice thing about it. You can play it your whole life, unlike other sports. That is good. Exciting.
Yeah. My plan today was to start breaking down material for that built-in, and then I just ended up getting caught up in yard work. And so I was just like, yeah, no big deal. I'll just do it tomorrow. So hopefully tomorrow, that's what I'll be doing. But I did get back from California Saturday night.
Oh yeah.
That was a very eye-opening, insightful trip. I went to go visit Mr. Jonathan Katz-Moses. And saw the operation that he's running. And it reminds me of exactly why I don't want to be involved in order fulfillment and designing products on my own and going through all the crazy procedures in order to get to that point. He has got it dialed in. So I went there for one very particular reason, which we did make some leeway on. Not going to share what it is yet, but we also started talking about some other things that we might be able to do that would be like easy wins, really inexpensive things, but things that would be helpful. And we did come up with something. I did come up with something and with him, and I actually have a prototype of it back here, which tomorrow I'm actually going to go and check some stuff out. But it was just so interesting. Like my brain doesn't work that way. I have a really hard time like sitting here right now. And if we were to talk about like, oh, this would be a cool product, I'd be like, I don't really know. Or like, what are your problems? I've had problems with this, and this, but like, unless it's happening in the moment and I'm good about it and I write it down and come up with like interesting solutions, I don't retain that information. So I don't My brain just doesn't work that way. His works very much in the idea and development and solution side. And I got to witness that firsthand. It was very interesting. But when two people are together, and this could be anybody, us talking on the podcast, we could come up with an absolutely brilliant idea on something, because we're spitballing back and forth. That's exactly what we did. And I was like, well, I like doing this, and maybe we could combine these jigs to make this jig. And it was just really interesting. And then like rapid prototyping, that's something that we were doing there. Like he would design it in VCarve, I think it was Vectric.
Oh, that's what I use.
Yeah. He would design something really quick and he'd have his calipers out and he's like doing all this math. And I'm just like, I don't know where you are right now, what you're doing. And he would do this. And then we would just take that file, go over to the laser, cut it out with, acrylic or whatever on the laser instantaneously. Feedback
so
right
cool.
away.
Can I
so
do a
cool.
commercial break really quick? He's using VCarve with the laser. And I'm asking out of curiosity. I never thought about that I could use VCarve with my laser.
He's using Vectric VCarve, right?
He doesn't use like light speed with his laser?
No.
Really?
He does. Yeah, he just designs the file in that software and then puts it on a thumb drive.
Laser? I didn't know that. Oh, that's cool.
But it was fascinating. It was fascinating. And the very first one that was cut lined up perfectly.
Yeah,
everything.
That still amazes me to this day that you can dial in something like that and it's just within less than it's just within a hair. It's exact. It's crazy. I'm always in disbelief. I always check it. I'm like, is it really? It is. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
It was very cool. That was my first time in Santa Barbara too.
Oh,
how was the airport?
Very small.
Do they still have the luggage outside?
It's not outside. It is in like that open area. So like I don't remember if there was no doors. It was just like open air, but it was under a cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was beautiful
like
place, man. Holy cow.
Yeah.
You get the mountains and you get the beach.
What a beautiful, beautiful place. I will definitely be going back there with Nicole. Had some pretty good food. We went to about 5 different watch shops while I was there. I did not buy a watch, believe it or not.
What?
Yeah. Did not buy a watch. I know what I want next, and I can't go to a Rolex AD and buy one because they won't sell it to you. So I was like, why waste the money on these when I know I want the other one?
What do you want? Do you know what you want? What is it?
Explorer 2.
Oh, okay.
With the white dial.
Okay.
It's a new one. Newer. It's the 42 millimeter.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I want, but we'll hold off. So I'm trying to be better with the watch game. But Santa Barbara was great. Very good trip. Very glad that I went. And I have a better understanding now of what it takes to design a product. As where before, that to me made the trip worth it. Right. And it wasn't cheap to fly out there. And I mean, Santa Barbara, right? Like, and the hotel was not cheap, but just learning what goes into it, 100% worth every penny. I would have paid double because now I know, like when I have an idea, I know exactly where I need to start and what I would need to give to him to get the conversation going, or anybody for that matter that I was, partnering with to help, help design a product. But it just makes me think about things in a very different way. So very glad that I went.
When I heard him on the podcast and he explained that process of how he develops and went over it, I also agree that's not me. It's awesome that he's so strong at it. And the place that I really got hung up on was when he was first, like, and it was in the beginning stages, he trusted a Chinese company enough to send them like this bulk, huge amount of money. I don't think I could do that. And he did. He saw them as a partner and he did it. And I just feel like sending money to China to me would just terrify me because I don't go to China a lot. So it's like, how do you get your money back? No, I don't.
Sedge and I were just there last week.
Yeah, man. I was prototyping something there.
Wasn't invited. Yeah. No. But I heard that. I was like,
dim sum.
That took some big time guts to do that, to send that. And at that point, he was sending a big part of his like life savings away. It was like make or break. And that was the product that made it. It was interesting to hear that story. Very interesting.
Were you going to say something, Sedge?
No.
No.
Full of words.
Well, Sedge, besides yard work, what else have you been up to?
Oh, I did a video a couple weeks ago and we posted it yesterday. And I was pretty impressed with the reaction. I've acquired some new stuff in the Sedge tool shop that I've been messing with, like a blue spruce scraper. They make them a lot
Scraper?
thicker, and I was pretty impressed with it. And then what else did I mess with? Oh, bunch of Forge 3D stuff. There's some cool stuff, and Tyler's been sending me some sending me files to look at. This guy is so innovative. The thoughts he has,
Yeah.
and I still haven't responded to his email because I've been so inundated with since I got back. And UJK, the adjustable cookies, those are nice. And what else did I put in there? Oh, I just love this company's name. They sent me this, the Identabolt. Did you get one, Jason?
No, they wrote me and asked me if I wanted one. I was like, yeah, I'd love to have one, but never heard back.
It's a thread checker, and it is really industrial and so well made. But the thing is I like the name of their company. Stupid simple
tools. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're out of I think St. Petersburg, Florida, and just seem like great people. So I just did like 4 new tools in the Sedge tool shop, and it was a lot of fun doing. And boy, the response on it's been fantastic.
Oh, good.
You know how Tyler on that Forge 3D, he just takes the regular sys organizer and he does the double stack stuff in different sizes. It's just, he's a smart dude, man. And I like working with him. He's cool. So
yeah.
That's what I've been up to. And just taxes, I got those in.
Ugh, I paid mine.
Oh, and what else? Just not going through the motions, but man, I just enjoyed the weekend with Marianne. Just boy, that fresh air really got me. I was out back, and there wasn't a cloud in the sky, and every single excuse that we could jump in the Jeep and go somewhere, we did.
Oh yeah, how are you liking it?
Oh my God, I'm gonna be in it full time now, starting on Wednesday. It's gonna be pretty.
Nice.
I love it. I just love it. It's really cool. Like I said, I think I said in the podcast, I've always wanted one since I was a little kid.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I needed a pickup. So it's like,
I also always wanted one and never got one. I think I lived through Cameron. When he said he wanted a Jeep, I was like, that's what he's getting, because I've always wanted one too. Yeah. So that was for me too. It was just I always liked them. I always wanted one.
Since we're talking about vehicles, can I share a story that you guys will find very funny?
Shoot.
Nicole probably won't love that I'm telling this story, but I'm going to anyway. So we have a white Honda Odyssey minivan, and Nicole was very against getting a minivan in the beginning. I kind of talked her into it because I'm like, look at the benefits. Like, it's going to be great. There's so much more space. She got one, and now she will never go back until the kids are old and gone. And, then she would probably get rid of it. But she cannot live without the sliding doors. So I'm like, okay, van is in our future. Totally fine with it. Great van. It's also the most common van on the road, specifically the white one. They are everywhere. Well, sometimes Nicole gets confused and she'll go up to the wrong car because there's a white Odyssey and there's 20 of them in the parking lot. So yesterday she goes to Kohl's and she goes to the grocery store. And she sends me a video message and says, okay, that's it. I'm done. We need a different van, because I literally just started putting our groceries in someone else's van and then realized that it wasn't our van and had to remove all the groceries and go to our car. So I'm like, well, why didn't you just like push the button like to unlock it or whatever? And she's like, well, when I walk up and I open up the trunk, I assume that it's doing it because the keys are in my pocket. And she said, but what if somebody like saw me doing that and thought that I was stealing groceries out of the van? And then she said, oh God, what did she? Oh, she opened up the back and she was like, "That's weird. I don't remember. Did Jason put the seats back up? Because the seats were up and the strollers weren't in there, and she had strollers in her car, but they weren't in there. And she's like, oh, that's weird, and started putting the stuff in there.
Oh my God.
So
Hilarious.
I know that this is going to sound ridiculous. We own that van outright. It's a 2022. Doesn't even have 40,000 miles on it. Yeah, it's probably worth 32. I think we paid 34 for it. She's probably getting a new van. We're actually
Nice.
going to. I sent
Not white.
No, it's not white. I found a 2023 Honda Odyssey Elite, which is their like top of the line one, but it's used. It's got like 15,000 miles. It's like a deep dark blue, like our old Jeep that we used to have, the Grand Cherokee. I don't know if you remember that, Sedge.
Oh yeah.
It's like that color. It's got like a black and cream interior. It's really, really nice. It has all the bells and whistles because it looks exactly the same on the inside. It has like the rear entertainment package for the kids. And it's like 37. And it's at a place called it's up in Fishers. It's kind of like a CarMax.
So Jason, make sure this weekend we bring that up with the girls.
Mm-hmm.
Because Mary Ann has a story.
This
similar.
It is killer.
You know what? Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ronnie.
No, I was going to tell you, because if you have another story, this is really crazy. Because like 3 days ago, Kelly called me in the grocery store. It's 3 days ago. She goes, guess what I just did? She's like, I put donuts in the wrong cart, the wrong shopping cart. She's like, I'm walking through Kroger and I'm looking for where I put them. And I was like, just go get other, don't get. She's like, no, I don't want somebody to get up there in the line. They'll be like, I didn't put those in there. Who put those in there? So she finally gives up. And she told me she got it to the front. She was checking out. This woman comes in behind her. She said she was like in her 70s. And she looked back and saw them. And she said, are those your donuts? And she was like, no, they're not. And she's like, I put those in there. Can I have them back? That was 3 days ago. She told me that. When you were telling that story, I was like, well, you just topped that story. So I have to let her know that she upped her by one by loading the wrong car. It'll make her feel better. Edge?
Okay, so Jason, Lebanon, and downtown, the courthouse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, Mary Ann went into, we had a green Grand Caravan, and we had just moved here. She had been here about a month. This was in 2007. So we bought the house, and she went and filed homestead exemption at the county courthouse, for the mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
And she walks in one door. She goes, and it's beautiful inside the rotunda. It's just gorgeous. But all the entrances look the same. She got turned around, and she walked out, and she couldn't see the van. So she started screaming. She started panicking. She called me at work. I jumped in the Expedition, and I was hauling butt. It's like 5 minutes away. She called the police. Then all of a sudden she goes, some guy walks up.
He hit the button.
Am I on?
Nope.
Yep.
I'm on. This guy, did I get to redneck?
No.
You said
okay, so she did I get to, she called me and I started hauling butt?
Yeah, just the guy.
And the cop.
Okay, she called the
yeah.
cops. Okay, which is just about half a block away. And they were pulling up and they saw her. And some tall redneck goes, ma'am, you got a Grand Caravan? She goes, yeah. She goes, she thought somebody stole it. She's on the phone yelling to me, we moved from Florida. We never got stolen. And we moved to this place and it gets stolen. He goes, ma'am, it's on the other side of the building. She walked out the wrong door. And I get a call. And she's saying, I found it. So I picked her up and we went to Bob Evans for lunch. And she goes, don't ever tell anybody. And
I love those.
Okay. And she looks at me, she goes, "You're gonna tell everybody." I go, "You damn Skippy."
You know what's
So
funny?
make sure
Can I
her
say
and
something
Nicole
to
this
her?
weekend. Yeah.
You,
Say, "Hey, did you ever lose a van?"
you know
Yeah.
what's funny about that? I don't ever tell anybody when your wife says that. That has a time like stamp on it. As time goes on, it does become funny to them. But at first, I've been told don't tell anybody like 3 or 4 things, and then she's the one that tells it. Like we'll be
Yep.
at a gathering, and I'm sitting there going, "Well, I guess it's not don't tell anybody anymore," because I've tried to keep my mouth shut about that one. But sometimes it hurts. The pain is too intense.
Oh,
That's funny. I'll have to tell Kelly the story about Nicole's because that really one upped her.
That's
She was
awesome.
so embarrassed.
See, okay,
I
so I'll make her feel better. I'm like, honey, you're not the only one that has
Yeah.
these weird moments.
so I
Yeah.
walked up, I think Saturday night. We were out having dinner, and after dinner we walked out where yeah, I think it was B Dubs. And I walked up to an opposite car and started trying to get in it. It was silver. It looked like her Edge. And she goes, "Over here, honey." And I went, "Oh, shnikey."
See, you all need to get your cars wrapped with your faces on them, and then there'll never be another. That's what you need to do with the new van. You need to wrap it with like just your picture all the way around it.
I'll just put Sedge's big smiling face on there.
Yeah.
Then no one will take it.
Yeah, something like that.
Hey, Ronnie, you know that hat you gave me? That's awesome. I wear it every once in a while.
Uh-huh.
I lost it. Marianne, yesterday. Marianne owns it now.
Oh, you lost it that way. Yeah, it's a comfortable hat.
She I was really worried about her head. I mean, her scalp, because
Uh-huh.
she didn't put any sunscreen. So I get the perfect hat. She goes, "Oh, is this comfortable?"
It
That's a
is.
spider hat, isn't it?
Yes, it is a very nice hat. When I talked to the company, they had just started carrying those, and it wasn't even in their catalog. And I went with that. I'll bring you another one so you all both can have one. I still have them. It's funny. I ordered like 20 of them, and I've kept them like diamonds, and I probably still have half of them because I've just been like, I only have 20. But
That's a great hat.
I'll bring you another one. Thank you. I'll bring you another. I think I have navy blue, black,
Ooh,
and
ooh,
gray. I have navy blue
ooh.
and gray. Yeah.
I'll take a navy blue.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll bring it with me when I see you soon.
yeah, man.
Speaking of hats, this has nothing to do with hats, but
You get
speaking
the
of,
best. You get the best segues, Ronnie.
no,
Yeah.
speaking of hats, I have high-speed fiber internet now at the shop as of yesterday, and it has been a 7-week ordeal, at least. At least.
No kidding.
It all started about 7 weeks ago when I was going to be one of the first ones after they ran fiber and the installer showed up. First thing he does is looks up at the pole and he's like, "You don't have one of those boxes. I can't install it without a box to tie into." And I was like, "Okay." He's like, "You're not going to get it today." And I was like, "Okay." And he stayed there for 2 hours in the driveway trying to call his boss. I had to just kind of like do that thing where you just kind of wait and you're like, you don't want to get too far away. And it was just wasting my time. I found out later on, they said that they're tracked by GPS and he was just doing his time so he could get paid. And he was just sitting there doing basically nothing. But after 2 hours, he told me, "Oh, we're going to get a construction crew out here, the construction group, and get the box installed." So that took a while. They finally did that. Then I had to have a guy come out and splice it. That was an hour and a half, like 4 days ago. And then on Sunday, I had an appointment at 9 o'clock in the morning. I came out. This guy was the best one I had yet. He knew what he was doing. He got it hooked. I had a signal and I just couldn't believe it. I did it.
So you have fiber now.
Yes. I estimate that I have about 7 hours of work in getting that done. At least.
Do you have to pay for any of that?
No, they
Okay.
were running fiber out just further out away from like just outside of the city limits. And it was part of that. Last summer they showed up. You remember me telling you it was last summer when they showed up
Yeah.
and they walked on my driveway and I was a guy and he was like, "Hey, we just walked around the gate down here." He's like, "How do we get back here?" He said, "We see it on Google Earth. We want to run fiber back here." I was like, "For what?" He's like, "For internet." I was like, "Come on back." And it was a 3-day project for 2 guys and 2 bucket trucks to bring it back here. And I didn't ask for it. And then I said, "When will it be available?" He's like, you'll hear from them when it's available." And so I kept checking, and finally it came up. And but it's still been a big ordeal. But I'm so glad to have it. I checked today, and my signal strength is 42 times faster than my cell phone hotspot at the lowest plan. I started with the lowest plan just to see, and I'm getting probably all that I need, because at the house we have a huge plan because we sometimes have 3 people streaming at the same time. But here, it's not going to get a lot of use. The Zoom podcast call probably one of the biggest things I do, as far as, or the beers with the boys.
Yep.
With the boys.
Speaking of that, that's this Friday.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
So I'm excited to do it out here because I usually go down to our basement to do it, and I just I would rather do it out here. You know, I feel like the house sometimes feel like the dog can't bark and things like that, and I would just rather be out here doing that. So I'm excited about it. It's a game changer for me. I've been out here for 14 years, and the cell phone hotspot was a game changer first. And that was maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. And then now this one to have dedicated, it's going to be a game changer. Things like the garage door opener, the on-cue garage door we use at the house, and all that. Did I leave the door up or not? I can see that on my phone. That kind of stuff is going to be huge, because sometimes I get down to the end of the driveway, a half mile away, and I go, did I shut the door?
Yes.
And I have to turn around, I have to go back through the gate, go all the way down, and it's shut. It usually is shut, but I just worry about it, So it's going to be a game changer for me. Huge.
You need to get a mini split.
That is today's. Guess where I was today? I was looking at Mr. Cole's website, because today is the day that it got hot in my shop again. And I told Cameron, he came in right before we joined, and I said, you know what? I said, this year we're doing the mini split.
You should.
I was looking today, and they have a 2-zone system. And I think that's what I would like to do, because my CNC area is like, say 500 square feet. And then my shop area is like 700 square feet. And they make a dual zone one, because sometimes I want the other. I might as well do both. So that's what I was looking at today.
Is it the DIY unit?
There was like 10 when I looked on there. There was DIY, and then there was another row of them, and I was in the 2-zone one. It came up, it asked me which one, and I was like, I don't think it was DIY though. I think it was a different one. It was called.
I asked because, are you planning on buying it?
It's funny. I thought about that. I was like, if I buy it, I can just install it and be done with it, or I can reach out to them and see if they want to work something out. I don't know which one would be better. I don't know. But
let me look through my emails. I have the contact that I worked with both times. They will expect some sort of content in exchange, but they are honestly probably one of the easiest companies that I've ever worked with. I sent him an email in my first shop, and I was like, hey, I would love to put a mini split in the shop. I'd love to do it by myself. I know a lot of people that have your unit. He wrote me back, and he was like, I told him what I wanted to do. I was like, I'm doing a shop series. I can do an install video on it. He was like, yeah, which one do you want?
Oh, that's good. Well, yeah, if you could send me that.
This one.
What's really cool, my dad passed away like around 3 years ago. And what's really cool is he was an electrician. He ran a 220 into a junction box and just terminated it. And it's in the spot where if I ever wanted to add one, he put one in there. So it's kind of cool. I have a dedicated circuit for it and everything. So that part would be easy.
It's so easy to do. It really is.
It's really easy.
And I checked your alls out when I was at both of your alls shops, and they're so quiet.
Hey, Jason, I handed you the drill.
Yeah. Hey, Ronnie, maybe I can maybe I can come down and help you. Come down for like a day. We'll get that thing installed in a day, and you can hand me the drill and beers.
I could come down as a drill handler.
A drill handler.
We could make it a podcast trip.
That's awesome. It's so funny that you say that, though. Today was the day that it was at 1:00, and all of a sudden I was in the shop, and I was like, it's hot. It's hot for the first time, because my shop faces where the sun is setting. So even on the hottest of hottest days, my shop never gets warm, even with all the windows, until like 3-ish, 4:00. And I installed those sliding door shutters last year, and that makes a huge difference, because I'm able to cut the light, from the sun coming in. But for the most part, the shop stays fairly decently like warm and cool throughout, because I insulated it like the best I possibly could when I built it, and that makes a big difference. But today was warm. I had
It was.
86. It was 86 in my car when I got it at 3 o'clock. I went to go meet Madison. It was 86, which is like, wow, I didn't realize it was already up there. So yeah,
It's
so
so
it's on my
it's
list.
so frustrating to me when the weather does like what it's been doing, where it's like you're just
Oh,
dying for that spring, beautiful spring weather, and it'll get cold for like 4 days, and then you get that one day it's like 70 and it's
yeah.
beautiful. The next day it's like 71, 72, and then the cold front comes in and it's cold. And then the cold fronts pass and then it's 80 something. It's
80.
like, what?
Yeah.
Where
We
did the spring go? I wanted like 2 weeks of just nice weather.
miss out on the middle range weather, I think on spring and fall and have for years. It just seems like it's either cold or hot. And that's why I always hear about San Diego. They say it's like what you want it to be every day. Just the temperature is like perfect. And that's I think it's one of the unique places in the country that has that kind of weather. But yeah, we go
You,
straight hot.
So something that was very interesting now that you brought that up, when I was in Santa Barbara, so the weather up there was absolute. I mean, it could not have been any nicer the day that I got there. I mean, it was 67 degrees, beautiful, sunny, nice little breeze. It was just incredible. And then on Friday, let's see, what was it? Wednesday or Thursday or Friday. I think it was Thursday, is when we went down to just outside of Los Angeles, because that's where this mall was. It had a bunch of these watch stores, and we wanted to go check all these different places out. When we left Santa Barbara, it was like 68, 69, same weather, a little bit cloudy. We got down to LA or near LA, got out of the car, and I was like, holy cow, it's hot. It was like 83. So a 40-minute, 40 miles away, just south, it was that significant. I was like, why is it so hot down here? It's beautiful up in Santa Barbara. It's like Santa Barbara's on the water. He's like,
Yeah.
Los Angeles is inland. He's like, so, you've got the hills and everything. He's like, that's why it's a lot warmer down here. And I'm like, 40 miles, and it was that significant. He's like, Santa Barbara is beautiful all year round because
Yeah.
you're right next to the water. You're right next to the ocean. It's cooler. I was like, man, how crazy was that?
It was hard for me to fathom when I used to travel to what's now the Tesla plant in Fremont, California, just below San Francisco. And I spent the whole month of July out there, and it's called microclimates. And it blew my mind that you can drive 20 minutes down to Santa Cruz and it's like vacation 80-degree weather. You turn around, drive 20 some minutes back in San Francisco, it's 50 degrees. You need a jacket, freezing, like Alcatraz freezing. And then you drive over what I call the mountain, but they say they're hills. Any of those mountains you drive over that you see along that whole strip, it's always like 70, 80 degrees on the other side of the mountain, which they said are hills. And I said, where we live, those are called mountains because they're tall. California has a different gauge of what a mountain and a hill is. I learned that too.
We have a saying here in Indiana, you like the weather? They say, yeah. I go, don't worry about it. And in the next hour, it'll change on you.
Yeah.
It changes so rapidly. It's great though. It's like weekends like this past weekend. Oh my God. I could eat that up all the time. That's why I love the spring, but man, October is my favorite month here.
Yeah.
It is just so gorgeous here.
October is good for Florida too. That's my favorite month for Florida.
Yeah.
Because it's mild, still warm, water's still warm, everything. Yep. But we're almost to the time where it's going to be just hot, hot, hot. We're almost there. So it's funny you asked that, because today I was on Mr. Cool's website testing out my fiber.
Well, I asked about it because before we started the podcast, you had talked about how warm it was and you were going to save it for the podcast. It was perfect timing.
Yeah, I was like, maybe I should talk about that in a minute. But I had to actually change the direction of my fans today. That's a big deal.
Oh,
It happens twice a year. Change the direction of the fan.
This podcast brought to you by Mr. Cool.
Mr. Cool and fans.
Free DIY mini splits for everyone. All of our patrons.
Yes.
That's it.
And Jason will install them.
You get a mini split. You get a mini split.
You get a mini split. You get a mini split.
I used to say never, but I think the more time you spend in a shop, the more you realize that if you're comfortable, you will spend more time in it.
100%. Absolutely.
It's, sometimes you're thinking, oh, I get warmed on 2 or 3 and I'll just stop. But you don't have to if you have, it is more comfortable. So I'm starting to see more of the benefit of that. And it's worth.
Well, that's what blows my mind about people in their shops. when it comes to, they have money and they're trying to figure out where to put that money. And, getting a mini split, a lot of people just neglect that because it's not a tool. They're like, well, no, why would I spend, $2,000 or $1,500 on a Mr. Cool? I mean, Christ. Why would I spend that? I could buy a domino for that. It's like, yeah, you could, and you could be sweating your, bag off inside of your shop, or spend the $1,500 and you'll want to be out in your shop way more, and it's climate controlled. It's the best investment you could ever make.
In the summertime, you are so much more productive. You don't get as fatigued in the afternoon, and it's absolutely amazing. Then in the wintertime, oh my God.
Well, see,
I don't run it all the time. If it's a mild, like this winter was mild, but I knew when Friday afternoon, I was going to live in there all weekend. I'd be at work. I would be at work and I turn on my Mr. Cool. So when I get home Friday afternoon, I turn on at 10 in the morning, but it was still mild. I never let it go below 50 in the shop.
So this winter, and I think I did it last winter too. Yeah, I did. I have two like Northern Tool heaters that I have mounted in my ceiling. And I actually could take the feed from those too, because those are all dedicated. He put everything on a dedicated circuit. I have two dedicated 220s just for my Northern Tool heaters.
Oh, that's so cool.
But I set them on low where it wouldn't. I played around with it and figured out what it took to not let it go below 50. That's the same thing I was thinking. That made all the world of a difference. This year, I spent more time in the shop because I didn't want to go in. The year before that, I had one of those torpedo heaters, and I would come in on just to get it where it wasn't freezing. And then I would use the electric heater. This year, I told Kelly, I was like, let's just see what it does, the electric bill. And it raised it like $200 a month. But that was a lot more time that I spent in the shop. So it was worth it. But I think if I did like a mini split, it'd be more efficient than that.
Much more efficient. It didn't add a lot to our electric bill.
Yeah. So that's definitely a reason to do it too. But I think that's a progression, and that's part of growing in a shop. Like Jason said, first you want to throw tools and you don't want to spend money on anything else. But as you spend more time in a shop and you realize, the only reason why I left that day was because it was 3:00 and it was getting hot, or it was cold and I got tired. If you were able to have more consistent temperature, you're going to spend more time in there. And I think that's a progression. I don't think everyone just jumps right on that bandwagon, because you're always trying to figure out, no matter who you are, you only have so much you can allocate to that hobby, or even if it's in your business. The ones that I was pricing out today, I was getting in the 3,500 range with the dual zone. But still, in the whole scheme of things, that's not bad at all. That's actually two dominoes.
For me, it was the lighting, which I did American Green Lights, and I did a Mr. Cool. And the other one Jason pointed out is and he had it, is the side mount, so I could do a high bay on my single garage. And I love that, Ron, you said something about, did I shut the garage door?
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I'm halfway to work in the morning and I would turn around to check, because I did leave it open once in like the late 2007, 2008. And my neighbor closed it for me. I got lucky. But that MyQ is unbelievable.
It's so cheap. It's like $30. It's one time. And what's cool about it? My neighbor has it. She has it across the street, and she just added me to her profile. So I bring up my Q app, and I'm going to add my shop onto it. I can pick her house, and I can pick our house, and I control it all from the same app. It is so smart. And I have mine set to close it at 9:00. If my door is open at 9 p.m., it just shuts it automatically. Because
I've never downloaded the app for it.
Oh, it's amazing. It's such a good app. Every time your door is open or shut, it sends you like a message, which is nice for me to know. I know when Kelly's leaving, or I know when she came home. But once your kids start being able to hit the garage door, that's a reason right there, because when you left it open or closed. But the kids will, for example, push the button and take their bikes out front and then come back in the house. You'll come out the next morning, your garage door's open. That's what starts happening. And it's so frustrating because they don't remember. And that's what saved us, because it would either automatically shut, or I knew when they opened it because it would send me a message. But you can also open it for somebody else, like an Amazon delivery. You can open it up.
Yeah, just stand there and I'll open it for you.
And there's not any subscription fee at all for it.
None.
That's what's nice.
It's built in. You just download the app and you link up to your garage door opener.
Yeah,
And it is freaking wonderful.
it is. It is. What I usually do is as I'm pulling away, I'll hit closed, and then it sends me a confirmation that it's closed. But I'm already halfway out of our neighborhood, and I just wait for it to tell me that it's closed. But it's very handy. I don't use my garage door opener anymore or my keypad. I use my phone. It's nice. Can't wait to have it out of the shop.
Nice.
It's the little things like that. There's some apps that you install and you're like, this is cool, but it's not very user friendly to the point of that you don't use it because it's like hard, like the GUI, the graphical user interface is like hard to navigate, or it takes a while to connect or anything like that. And if it does that, you just don't use it. And I have apps like that they're handy, but you're just too hard to use. This one, you open it up and it says open, close. That's it. And there's a history on there, which is nice.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool. Highly recommend it. I think it's $29 on Amazon. If you don't have it built into your garage door opener already.
Right.
You can buy a little thing. But a lot of garage door openers already have it built in.
That's what this had it built in.
Yeah, the newer ones do.
Right.
So that's tip for anyone out there. If you have it says on cue on the back of your opener, it'll say it's on cue enabled or compatible.
Didn't your great grandmother invent that technology?
She did, but she did not have a garage. So they were like, show me your concept. And she's like, well, it was before they had garages. They had carriage houses with sliding doors. So she was trying to explain the concept of the overhead garage door. And they were like, I'm not following.
But what's Wi-Fi?
Because she had, there were so many concepts that she was ahead of her time. They're like, let me get this straight. There, people are holding a device that somehow talks to the carriage door, and she was just ahead of her time. She did file the patents though, and we're reaping the benefits of that part, but she didn't get to see it because technology wasn't there.
I love how no matter what we say, you can always find that's like a new thing on our podcast. So we need to work that in every episode. It used to be get bent. Right now it's Ronnie's great grandmother. We got to work that in every time.
Yeah. She was ahead of her time.
So I have something happening on Thursday that I would like to talk about and get what you guys think.
7 inches.
Yeah. Cold?
Oh no.
No.
Warmed up, baby.
I have an estimate happening on Thursday. Actually, I already had the estimate happen. On Thursday, they're coming out to discuss the estimate and go over the estimate, which is the first time I've ever had this happen before. So we have the company that did my landscaping. They're absolutely phenomenal. I wanted to get some landscaping done at the front of the house. Called this guy up again. Amazing experience. Like I would use them every time, no matter what. And while he was here, I said, hey, do you guys do covered patios? And his response was, we do, but like not at a big scale. We actually have a company that we partner with and send a lot of our customers that are looking to have that kind of stuff done. I'm more than happy to put you in contact with them. So they did. The guy came out, super nice guy. I think they're out of like Carmel or Westfield or something. Super nice guy comes out. We go over what I want, take some measurements. And he's like, the estimate will come from True North Landscaping because they're the ones that referred you to us. So everything will go through them. And I'm like, okay. But instead of sending me the estimate, like they normally do, here's your estimate. If you'd like to discuss, we can, whatever. I get an email that said, hey, Jason, we have your estimate ready. So for us to come back out and review it and go over everything with you. And I'm like, ugh, that's probably not a good sign. Like it's going to be really expensive. And
yeah, that's something I would never do. I don't take the time to do that. Here's your price. Call me if you want it.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, this may be that thing that this company, I cannot say enough good things about, right? Because of stuff like this. Maybe, that has something to do with it, right? Like they want to walk through because the engineer who designed what I wanted, he's the one that's actually coming. So he developed, did all the engineering, figuring out the house, like how they're going to do it. That's happening Thursday. I'm curious. I did some research today because I'm wondering, and just for everybody listening, So they get an idea of what it is that I want. Said, you know, my back patio very well, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the big concrete slab on the left side, the big square portion,
Yep.
not the little close part that comes in, you know, in front of the stairs.
The big.
Right.
So
We
when you
wanna
walk out, it's to the left.
Yes.
Yep.
Where the table and all of our seating
Yep.
areas are. We want to cover that whole thing.
Mm.
What we want to do, and what I asked them to give me an estimate on, was we want a roof. I said, let's plan on it just being a roof that pitches away from the house, not what is it, gable?
Yeah.
Gabled roof, not that. He said, well, it depends on the engineer and all that stuff, but he goes, the way you want to do it's the more cost effective way. So we can do that. And I said, okay, it's 17 and a half feet from the house to the edge of the concrete slab. And my question to him and why I wanted somebody to come out and walk through it with me was, we talked about this before. Can you put that weight on this concrete slab? And if the answer is no, is it going to have to go off of it, or are you going to drill through the concrete and place footers and then refill it? And he said, there's two things we can do. He said, yes, we can do it here on the concrete. Yes, we would drill it out. We would cut a square basically, and then we would put a footer, and that would go into the footer because by code you have to have that. And I'm like, okay. And he said, and then we would just put something at the bottom as a decorative thing to, you know, cover the difference in concrete color or whatever. And I was like, all right. And he said, or we can go off of the concrete into your landscaping and we can do it there. But we don't have to have any posts from the house
Right.
all the way out there because this length of 18 feet, we can do LVL.
Right.
He goes, but going the opposite direction, which is like 20 feet, 21 feet, if I remember correctly, he's like, we cannot use LVL and there will have to be a beam in the middle.
You want that anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, cool. And he said, you know, what do you want for the ceiling? And I was like, well, you know, it has to be shingle, has to match the house. So if there's siding on the side to match the house, it has to be the same. So you're talking some framework for the top, some rafters or whatever they're called, 3 cedar beams, couple long LVLs. And then they were like, you know, I would suggest you could leave it open, but if you want a fan and you want a few lights, then I suggest you do like a ceiling, which we would just use like a hardy plank style board and we would just cut holes in it for your lights and we could install the fan. We'll even run the power outlet for where you want your TV. And I'm like, cool. I'm thinking between $20,000 and $30,000 is what this estimate is going to be.
So that's my low guess, but I would not be surprised if it was 60. I would say my guess is 20 to 60 is what I would guess.
So I'm impressed with the company coming out because they want to explain it to you of your different options. And sometimes that gets too lengthy and confusing in an email.
Mm-hmm.
And I totally understand that. And they're also going to get that person, the engineer, who will explain it properly to you.
Mm-hmm.
Emails, sometimes it's too much. And I'm going through something similar right now where they've sent me all my claims, insurance, the roofer is on board. I'm getting my whole roof replaced. But insurance companies start talking in emails and on the phone. It's got the hey, ABC 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, all these acronyms, abbreviations. And I'm like, whoa, time out. I think I said that last week. But I'm going to have somebody come out and explain it to me and Marianne of the process before we start. So, I mean, it's covered completely by my insurance company, American Family.
American
shout out.
American Felons Association.
American, but it's pretty cool. And I understand when a company says, okay, I'm going to come out and explain the estimate to you because I think it's going to be a hefty sum.
I agree. So a lot of times when they want to explain the estimate, it's because they have someone who's dedicated to just doing sales. Because if you want to close more projects, that's what you do. You circle back. So like my methodology has been, I know the person who's doing the work and it's me. So sometimes I think in the worker mode and not the business mode, and almost hope the people are saying no. So I just shoot it off to them and say, here's the price. And if I hear from them, I hear from them, but I don't ever follow up or do anything like that. My closing method is extremely high because usually people have seen my work and they want it anyway. That's kind of different. But my guess is it's going to be high because they do want to come talk to you about it, which is it's a good sign that they want to take the time to do that. But I would, when I say 60, I would not be surprised if I'm wrong and it's higher than that, because I've heard some people throw out some numbers to me about what someone told me. I don't know if it's on this podcast or on Beers with the Boys. We talked about it on our patron call. Somebody was saying something about somebody had a front porch, just a simple front porch, like a 6x8 front porch stoop. They want to do a roof on, and they had a quote for like $60,000-$70,000 for the front. And I was like, wow. But it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me because sometimes they have their minimums of what they want to take on with a project and they just price it accordingly. It's all about how busy they are and how much they want the job. That's what it comes down to.
Yep. I mean, I'm definitely gonna, like, depending on what the price ends up being, like, I'll probably, my neighbor across the way, he has a buddy that owns a construction company that's pretty big in the area, and I may have them come out and do an estimate as well. But I don't know. I started doing some research today, and I was like, just randomly going on Google and just saying, average price for a covered patio. And I found multiple articles, like from all kinds of different, viable sources, right? Like, big home building websites, big, DIY type stuff, big companies. And the one thing that I found among all of them is that on the high side of pricing was anywhere from like 22 to 29,000. And two of the websites I actually even found were like broke down rough dimensions, like sizes that it's, building over. And so that made me feel a little bit better. But I'm just hoping it's not one of those like we all saw during COVID, where people come out and they're like, oh yeah, my price. Yeah, it's the FU price, and it's going to be double of what it was 2 years ago, just because it can be, right? Because that's going to be very disheartening to me. Because if it's like under 30, either way, I got to finance this, right? But if it's under 30, then I'm going to be like, absolutely, let's do it.
Here's an option.
60, there's no way in hell I'm going to do that.
When they throw out the price, one thing that I would ask them, it sounds like they're using LVLs. I would ask them if they considered using trusses, because the trusses, you can get, trusses that are up to like 32 feet long. I've used before that are like 1.5 feet on one side and maybe 10 inches on the other. And trusses are like, well, last time I bought, they were like $60 each, something like that. They're cheap. They're cheaper than LVLs. And you didn't even have to have a flat ceiling. You could have the trusses custom made where there's even a little bit of angle if you wanted to. You could do that. But I wonder if trusses would be more inexpensive than LVLs. That's a question to ask them.
Yeah, I'd be willing to bet he's going to offer you 2 or 3 options, and that are leveled at prices. Like, hey, this is the 60,000. This is the 40,000. This is the 25,000.
So that's the point. And then to go along with that, another question you can ask them is, what if you finished out the ceiling? What if they just left it bare? You are totally capable of putting tongue and groove under there.
I don't want anything to do with that. I know I am. I'd so much rather I want somebody that's going to come out, they're going to finish it in like 2 days, and then I can enjoy it.
So easy. Like, I wouldn't want you to say the roof, but I mean, like, there's different levels if they didn't finish the underside. What I'm saying is, if they come back with a really high price, it's almost a way to get them to break it down also. Even if they aren't planning on it, they'll break it down for you.
My experience, though, in doing that in the past, because there's been times where I was like, well, why don't I just, they give me an estimate and includes everything. And I totally understand where they're coming from. This almost every time I have said, well, you know what? I'll just do this part. It never makes a significant change in the cost, if any, really, because what they have is they're like, okay, we already gave you an estimate, and now you're saying you're going to do it yourself. Well, okay, I'll drop a little bit off, but you might as well just get it done. You know what I mean?
Right. That you're actually 100% on that one, because if somebody did that to me, I would not really take that much off. So you're right. But I was thinking I would ask them the truss versus LVL, because LVLs are expensive.
Well, it would only be LVL on the 2 outer portions that lead out.
So they're using
trusses all the way across inside of that.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. because those
The
are not.
LVL just to span that length and be enough to support the weight of the roof only on
Yes.
one beam on the far outside, which is 18 feet away from the house.
How long across is it? Did you say was it 20 some feet?
Like 21, 22.
One. Okay. Yeah, that would be a 3-poster, and it looks
Yeah.
better. It wouldn't look right if it spanned the whole way. It needs a post in the middle. And if you ever did power screens, got to have that post in the middle. Ding.
Well, yes. So I've already thought about that. My problem is though, is the power screens make a lot of sense. But here's the deal, and this is why I think that mine, I would assume, is going to be on the less expensive side, because I don't have any walls, no walls. It is literally just a covering. So trusses, LVLs, 3 beams, roof material, a little bit of siding, right?
Yeah.
To match the house. That's it. Now,
You might
granted,
know too much though. You just broke it down, but a lot of homeowners don't understand that. And because of that, they can charge much more.
Yeah.
You're right. Something else you
If
have
they
going.
come at me with 50 grand, I'm a bit, can I get an itemized list of
Yeah,
this?
see, I would
Because
never break it down for someone. I mean, maybe they will, but another benefit to them that they're really going to
Mhm.
like is being a vinyl house. It's actually on the backside is much easier than a brick because they can actually cut your vinyl out and attach straight to your
Mhm.
studs. Versus brick now, there's a lot of new rules you can't attach to the brick because it's a veneer, so you have to actually go in beyond that. It's a little bit trickier to do a brick house. You think about you can't just attach and pull it. You could actually pull the brick into the because it's just a veneer. It's not load bearing. So you're actually I know when they look at your job, they're mouth watering because it's an easy job to do. When I say easy, it's easy compared to a lot of other types of situations.
Yeah.
So they're going to want to do the job. I know.
they told me, because I said, he's like, do you know if there's OSB or foam board? And I'm like, it's foam board right over the top of 2x4s. Like that is how, and then right over the top of that is the siding. And he's like, okay. He's, well, when we tie this into the house, we will actually cut out your stuff, and we will put in that area, we will put OSB on
Mhm.
there, so we have multiple tie-in points, but we'll go directly into the studs. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And then
That's
we'll
the
do
way
all the flashing, and all the water would run off the roof and
I used to
and
do a
all
lot
that.
of pergolas, and I loved it when I had a vinyl house because it's just so you don't even have to guess. You can see exactly when you cut the vinyl out, you can see exactly what's going on. You just put that J channel all the way around and flash it. But it's a straightforward project, and I will be very interested to hear what they price it out at.
Mhm.
I think the range, like you could legitimately get a solid company that would quote you anywhere from, for example, 20 to 60,000, and they're all going to do exactly the same thing. But it's where they are in their is an engineer or a salesperson or both that's coming out.
Both.
No. Well, yes, actually. The engineer who designed it is not the guy that came on the estimate. The guy that came on the estimate to do the estimate, older gentleman named Roy. He can't make it that day. But he told me, he's like, just so you know, the engineer that I gave your product or project to, who actually designed it, he will be coming out and giving the estimate, and he can answer any questions that you have. That's the company that does the work. The company that referred me is my landscaping company. And the guy that I have dealt with for the landscaping, who is in sales and he does the estimates for that company, he's coming. And that's my other concern, is because him and I have a relationship, a very good relationship. My concern is that he's coming to basically like seal the deal, right? And then also something that I did think was kind of strange was when he told me, he's like, we'll send you an estimate, but it's going to come from the landscaping company. And I was like, I mean, why? They referred me to you. And he's like, yeah, but we do a lot of work for them. So because we do a lot of work for them, it's going to go through them. If you do financing, it will be financed through them. They basically are the project manager, and they're subcontracting us to do the work. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. But I was like, does that mean that they can just upcharge, the job? And he's like, the price is going to be no different whether it's coming from them. And I'm like, well, yeah, how do I know that that's not the case?
You know what? One thing that I would definitely do, during the presentation and after they do, I would not commit to it. I would tell them, we need to talk about this, and this is higher than I budgeted. which I have a feeling it probably will be. When I say budgeted, it's always good. It's like, I don't got the money. It's not about that. It's how much in your mind, just like Mr. Cool today. Mr. Cool came back on that website at 6,000. That's a little higher than I thought it was going to be. It's not that I couldn't pay that. I just don't want it to be that high. So you've got to figure in your head, and you can let them know this is higher than what I thought it was going to be. We're going to need to talk about it, because I'm sure in their mind, they're going to want to close before they walk out the door there.
Oh yeah.
I want to close. So they might at that time go, well, where do you want to be? They may ask you right then, and that's the time to say, I want to be here, because they might start out high. You can only go down. You can never go up.
Engineer's another nice name.
Yeah.
For salesperson and closer.
Yeah. I'd say that's probably the case. So I would definitely do that. That way you have the upper hand. They don't want to leave without you saying yes. So be willing for them to even leave, because they'll take the job, but just, I would say we need to talk about this and see if they offer anything up right then. And you can say, I'll let you know tomorrow.
Unless it's in the price range, I'm going to be like, sold. When can you
But
start?
just remember, don't freak. They're probably going to do the tactic on you. Like, we've got 7 jobs right now. And if you want to get done by, let us know today,
They'll throw that in.
They're going to really try to put high pressure, but you can throw it back at them and just say, you know what? We're going to have to talk about this. We're going to have to. Now, saying that, I've made the exception to that, because Kelly and I spent 2 years getting pool prices, and we just didn't do it. And we called this guy out that was new in the business, and he priced out lower than we've ever had given to us before. We on the spot said, yes, put us down. And that was in March, start of COVID. And I'm so glad we did it, because he did have the upper hand there, because that guy was swamped, and he still is after there. So we kind of had to make exception on that. We did tell that guy yes, because he was so much lower than every other quote we've ever gotten. So that's the difference. If you had like a bunch of quotes and they came in, you don't have to even play that game with them. But I don't know.
I hate going through that process. I always try to get multiple quotes, but God, it's so frustrating when you have quotes that are so substantially different from one to the other. And sometimes I've been bitten so many times in the past by going with the cheapest one.
Don't go with the cheapest. But
I've been disappointed when I spent more money. I mean, my windows, that was a great example.
Every time you see one of those posts out on a forum or on a website where people are like, hey, these cabinets, how much should I price them out? It is so entertaining to look through the hundreds of comments, because it is all across the board. It's like 3,000 for that. Somebody's like 27,000 installed. Somebody's like 47,000 here. And you're like, how on earth could it be that?
Somebody else is like $1,200.
Yeah, somebody's like 700 all day long. You're like, really?
How are you guys making this kind of money?
Yeah. So it's always, that just shows you it's all across the board. But one thing you have as an advantage, you've already worked with somebody affiliated with this company. So that's what's really good. They have some credibility already with you.
Yeah, I mean, if this company is in, like, if the company that I'm using for the landscaping, I'm telling you, it's probably the best customer service experience I've had.
That's a good
ever working with the company. The dude is amazing. Like, I wish I had more stuff to do that I could hire him for, or his company. He just makes it like such a great experience.
Jason, can you do me a favor? I know you don't want to talk about the company names. Can you just, because I want to see if this is my buddy's company. Can you text me just so I know and I can look something up, the name of the company that's quoting the roof or the pergola or the
overhang.
I mean, I'll say it. I just don't. Hold on. I can tell you right now. I'm not worried about sharing it. I'll gladly share it. I've had nothing but great experiences so far. Let me find it here. It is. So the landscaping company that I use is Heath Outdoor, also True North Landscaping. But the company that is doing the other one is Artisan Outdoor something. Artisan Outdoor Craftsman, I think.
There it is. And Fishers. Yeah,
artisanoc.com. So, and the guy that I met with that did the estimate is the director of sales. And apparently the guy that's coming is, they have a team of people who design the stuff and 3D modeling and all that.
One thing I would also ask during that appointment when they come is who's doing the work, Who's
Mhm.
doing
Amish.
who's doing that? Or is it all in-house? Do
It's
they
all
do
it's all in house, and all their crews are Amish.
do they do multiple projects at the same time?
Yes.
Or they do yours part of, are they going to do part of yours like the framing and then next week show up a week later to do the roofing? How's that going to work? I would talk out the details
that
of
I
that.
want to ask. Yeah.
And also, once you sign the contract, what's the timing and how long will it be?
That
would,
I know is going to be June, July timeframe. Is how far they're backed up right now.
because I regularly work on projects when I'm doing the screens, deck ceilings, that kind of thing, and I see how long contractors draw out projects because they're doing multiple houses at the same time. And I would be so frustrated if I was a homeowner because they could have gotten it done, for example, in a week and they spend 3 weeks on it. So just, I would ask that. So there's an expectation there.
One of my concerns is because they're out of Fishers. They do a lot of work in Fishers, Zionsville, Carmel, Westfield, all
Oh,
those
yeah.
areas. And those are all the,
Uppity.
the very high priced, areas. And they do amazing work. I mean, I
That's
looked at the
good.
website.
It does.
I was
That's
like,
what
holy
that's what I'm
cow.
checking out.
That's a good sign. That's a
Yep.
good sign. No, that sounds good. I'm just thinking of the things that I would ask because, and it's nice that you know that company directly, indirectly, you know about them. But I'll be interested to hear next week. You'll have to tell us what the outcome of that was.
Or beers with the boys.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'll know by then.
Friday.
I'm hoping 20 to 30K. If it's 20 to 30K, I'm going to pull the trigger 100%. My initial thought was like 50.
Yeah, I was going to say if I was on a game show and I couldn't go over, I would probably guess 45 is what I would guess. But I wouldn't be surprised if they were as high as 60 or more.
It's crazy to me. I'm talking like at most, the materials for this project, $9,000 at most. I think that's a stretch.
A lot of labor. What's the actual size of it? So you said it was 21 by what?
It's like 18 by 21 would be the space that it's covering.
Let's see. 18 by 21 times 25. So if I was doing that as a deck ceiling, it'd be 15,000. Just to give you an idea. That would be doing a ceiling under a deck for that amount of square footage. That's what that would be. With no electrical, nothing extra. And that's not an exact comparison, but I was just kind of trying to see where that fell.
How many square feet was it?
I already, what'd you say it was 21 times what? 14? 18? 378.
So I did see, 378. I did see a thing online. It was talking about, average pricing for just like an overhead cover, meaning no walls, not just beams and a ceiling structure and a roof. You can expect to pay anywhere from, $30 to $70 per square foot. So let's just go on the high side
I
of that.
figured out at 25 a square foot is what I just had figured, the figure I gave you.
I did on the high side of 70 and it's 26 grand.
Yeah, that's good.
So I don't know. We'll see. Again,
we'll
you're
see.
right. They could come out and just be like, yeah, COVID was great to us and we don't really want this job because we have so many other important jobs. But if you say yes to 60, we'll do it.
Yeah, if you'll know it if they do it. If they're up more than like 40 range, they're just saying, well, if you really want to do this, this is what's going to be.
I might even say that while they're there, like,
Yeah.
it's going to be 48,000. I'll be like, okay, so you're giving me the FU price.
do it.
Like,
Do it.
I get it.
Do it. Yeah. Be like, let me show you my shop.
Yeah, I'll be like, come
You
on,
think I
guys.
can't do this. I've got a slider.
Yeah, I've got a sliding table saw. Okay. I have a shop full of Festool tools.
I was just gonna say that.
I've got a shop full of it. They'll be like, oh, we just upped the price. You know what you do? Say,
How about I trade you a track saw for this job?
be like, okay, let's
Even.
Yeah.
say, let's change that LVL out to a 2x4. What about some corrugated metal on the top? A little 2x10 running across. What would that be?
Yeah.
How much we talking?
I told them because one of the things I said is I want a fan and I want 4 like flush mount, LEDs in there. And then he's like, yeah, we can run the power for the TV too. We'll just tie into one of your outlets inside of the kitchen. And I was like, oh, okay. And if they give me an estimate, I'll be like, geez, what are you giving me? A $10,000 fan? Like, this is ludicrous. I'll buy my own damn fan. Just wire it.
I tell you, you know what? I can spend people's money. And I'll tell you 2 ideas I see all the time on what your project is that makes a huge difference. One is skylights, having skylights in there. It lets it keeps the light like even. And the other one is having a fireplace on the end, on one side in the middle. It is even if you like made a spot for it where you just allowed for that to be eventually, because you could be off your patio, you build the thing, having a stone, brick, whatever fire that just goes up beside it, it's sweet. Gives you a place to
Well,
put your TV also.
That's one of the reasons why we're doing it the way that we're doing it, is because if I decide I want to add walls and an opening or an outdoor kitchen, I can build it.
Yes, you're right.
Right?
So most of the houses, all the way up to like the bazillion-dollar houses, they frame them up like a wall. When I say fireplace, they frame them up like a wall, and they use like face stone on them. Just house wrap and the backer board, and they use face stone, and they have an insert in there. That's the way most of those are done, and they look amazing when they're done. But that's the way a lot of them are constructed. So it's something to keep in mind. Just have it come flush with the end of the patio, and that's always a place that you can put that. It really comes out nice, but of course that adds to the cost. If they come in the team, be like, add a fireplace.
Yeah. That's it. Crap.
You're
All
like
right.
fireplace. No, that'll be interesting. I'm actually looking forward to hearing what they say.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll save it for beers with the boys
Yeah.
on Friday night and not even tell you guys on Thursday after the meeting.
That's good.
Because we're just gonna have to wait. But yeah, interested to see what happens there. But I'm gonna have to wrap this one up so Nicole
I
can go
can't
do a
believe
workout.
it's already past
I
7.
know. It flies. Time flies.
Yes, it does. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening to episode 134 of the Green Suiters podcast. And if you want your chance to win our amazing giveaways that we do for our patrons, you must be a patron. And you can do so by going to patreon.com/Green Suiters podcast and giving us your money.
So we could talk about these projects we want to do.
Exactly.
For the shop.
We need more patrons because I need a covered patio. Come on, guys. Upgrade.
Thanks, everybody.
Upgrade.
Yes, thanks for listening.
And don't forget to leave a review on Apple or Spotify.
Yes. Google
All right.
Podcast no exists.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.